Hello, my friends and fellow leaders. Welcome to Leadership Unfiltered. I'm your host, Shannon Hammond, and I'm glad to have you here with me this week on the podcast. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm so happy that you are here. I know that your time is valuable, and I'm grateful that you've chosen to spend some of it here with me today. Today, I'm so excited to welcome my friend and fellow coach, Dana Gengle. She's the sacred groundskeeper and the creator of the Four Walls Freed framework. Dana is a God made mentor, a certified Ignite Her life and human design coach, and a 2-4 splenic projector in human design who blends spiritual grounding, intuitive wisdom, and identity deconditioning to guide women into freedom and authentic leadership. Through her mentorship, Dana helps women release religious performance and reclaim their God made identity, visibility, and voice. She also co leads powerful summits and sacred containers for women rising into their divine assignments. Today, her and I are going to be diving into soul led leadership, why it really matters right now, and how you can step into it yourself. Plus, we're going to talk about something really exciting as we get to the end of this episode. So stay tuned because Dana has a really great summit that you are not going to want to miss. Welcome to the podcast, Dana.
Hi, Shannon. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited for our conversation today. But before we dive into our topic, would you share just a little bit more about your leadership experiences and journey and what inspired you to want to become a coach?
My goodness, leadership for me really started at a young age in my church. So I came from a very religious background, and we had roles and callings growing up. So even, when I was a teenager, I had leadership roles in our church and our church meetings and with other women like well, I guess it was girls at that time, girls my age. I'm the middle of nine, so I had a lot of leadership responsibilities growing up as a big sister. And I guess always trying to set the example for the older ones too. I have always wanted to help people, and so leadership just kind of came natural to me. I went into healthcare originally to help people. I know that doesn't might not sound like leadership, but it really is. Leading people to better health. I was in occupational therapy, so it was really about helping people uh, figure out and find ways in their new circumstances how to live a daily life functionally. And I loved it. I loved helping people, but I still was not satisfying my soul, if you know what I mean. Like there was always something more. I knew from my early 20s, probably going into college, that I still was searching for my purpose, and going now into 50s, I felt like I was still searching for my purpose. I had been in retail management for several years, doing leadership development and training, which was my favorite part. Um, Lots of years in retail management, network marketing, building teams, recruiting, working with clients one-on-one, and really setting the bar and being like making sure I'm at my best to be the leader and be the example for a team. And that's really where my leadership journey started, was really young, and it's just followed me throughout my life, and it's just who I am. I don't think I really recognize myself as, oh, I'm the leader, but I've always been called out as a leader.
Yeah. Well, I love that you share that because it really does highlight that leadership isn't always all about the title or your work, that there's opportunities to lead in your church, in your family, amongst your friends, right? And it's not always this one size fits all. Well, I'm only a leader if I fall into this category or this box. It really is just naturally who you are and how it is that you choose to show up in any given day or situation or how it is that you are interacting with others. So I love that you highlighted that.
Yes, it can have a lot of different looks to being a leader for sure.
Yeah. And it's so important in all of those different fields that we have leadership, right? You had mentioned a little bit like healthcare. It is, that is helping lead people. And that's so important there in all those other aspects, right? Especially, as we look at our families, our friends, it's not just leadership isn't just about work, right? It's
No.
about who you are and how it is that you show up.
That brings to mind in the middle of searching for my purpose, right? My mentor had said once, and this is something that I have followed the past couple years as I'm continuing to refine my calling. She said to show up in service.
Mm.
No matter what you're doing, show up in service. And for me as a projector, advisor in human design, um, me crashing parties or inserting myself into places sometimes doesn't work. So really allowing people to know who I am and allowing that invitation to come. Um, but people have to know me to get those invitations. So for me, it's putting myself out there in service. And what do I love in these communities I'm a part of? How can I show up in service without any expectation, without any strings
Mm.
attached, with no outcome expected? It's just, I am truly here being present in this moment for the group of women or whoever I am with to serve from my soul. And that has been probably one of the biggest, most impactful pieces of advice because as even when I started intentionally doing this 18 months ago, it has created such a rich, deep relationship, community building opportunity for me to really um, dance with myself as well.
Ooh.
If I'm showing up in service, then there isn't that expectation or I'm here for this. I'm here because I want clients and I want to put myself out there and I need visibility and marketing. No, this is just in service to somebody else. And believe me, I'm not a guru. I don't know why people still like come to my groups and stuff like that. I just feel so honored, right? And it's because like, I really believe of that genuine authenticity of no expectations and I'm just here to serve.
Yep.
And that has brought up so many opportunities for me that fills my soul. It's just magical the way it aligns. So that's one thing about leadership that I have taken and used in my own practice in life and has really created some amazing outcomes.
Yeah. I love it. You said learning to dance with yourself, right? Of how it is really all about that, just showing up with service, showing up with the heart of service, not tied to an expectation or an outcome or looking that I'm going to show up to get something out of this. I think that's where a lot of leaders, especially new leaders, sometimes tend to struggle, is that they think, well, I've got to get something out of this. And speaking from a corporate perspective, that is part of what they teach you is go into something, giving, but expect to get something in return. And you're not always going to get what you think that you are going to get in return. But when you show up with that heart of service, and I have no doubt, and I'll just say, even for myself, as one of those that shows up in those groups, like it is that genuine heart of service that you show up with, right? Of just wanting to give with no expectation and allowing people to be themselves and for you to be able to just be you. I'm going to show up as Dana and I'm going to serve and I'm going to allow everybody else to do that, and that is like a cornerstone of leadership. And I love how you said that it fills your soul, right? Because I do think all of us, we think we find our purpose in our 20s, we're like gung ho and all excited, and then we get our 30s and we're like, ooh, maybe not so much. Then you get in 40s and you're like, oh
Mm.
yeah, really not so much. And it's like this wonderful exploration of life that you just kind of go through. And I think it helps give you that permission of, if I'm in my career, early in my life, like I don't have to have it all figured out, right? People sometimes hit their biggest successes in their 50s and 60s and 70s. And it's like, that's when you're really meant to be pouring that wisdom out in others. So you
Absolutely.
had talked about like, yeah, you had mentioned that like giving that it fills your soul, right? And I think that's a big part of what we're going to talk about today, and really diving into that soul-led leadership and why it is that's so important. So can you talk a little bit about what does it mean to really lead from your soul, and how is that different from the way that leadership has like traditionally been defined?
Man, I can think vividly of my retail career and retail management, and being a leader there was very much performance results oriented. However, I learned early on that you can be a good leader and have poor results. You can be a
Mm,
poor leader and have great results. So it's very interesting how I had really good results. I was getting promoted. I was, doing all the things, but I still wasn't like my soul was not filled. Like there was still that emptiness of, okay, that's great. Oh, this award is great. Oh, that promotion is great. But then, you wake up the next morning and you're still like, what am I doing?" Um, to me, even in my early years in retail management, um, having the soul-led business, the soul-led leadership, I think came naturally to me because I genuinely cared about the other person. I wanted them to feel success. I wanted them to have that achievement and personal development and to be the best that they could be. And that I saw that as my role was to help them get the most potential out of them and lifting them up and inspiring them and impacting them. That's how I got great results. It wasn't because I was there by myself in a bubble. It was because of the relationships with others and having genuine interest in their lives and their careers. Um, and I didn't really see that a lot with other leaders. It was
mhm.
very cold, very black and white. I'm here, we're open the store, we do this, we check people in, we check people out, we do performance reviews, and just not, it wasn't really about the person, especially in a big corporate world, right? It was, we're the low, we make things run at the store level, but we're the last ones that matter. It's so odd. It just never
Yeah,
made sense to me. Um,
you
because
sell all
without
the
us,
product and bring in the money, but
yeah, but you're dispensable. So
yeah.
you were all like, I felt like I was always on eggshells. Like I really had to perform and be the leader that they expected me to be.
Mm,
And as I got older and more experienced, I maybe became a little more stubborn, maybe a little more jaded on this doesn't this doesn't feel right. Like I'm so tired of performing and putting up this act for other people because it was almost like I went into work and I was a different person. I had this costume I put
oh,
on because there I was the leader. I was the store manager of this company. And I had to be somebody that wasn't really comfortable being in order to make it work and to get the results and to have to do all of it. And I think it wore on my soul so much of that authenticity
yeah.
to really show up as myself. And I believe that's a disservice to not show up as yourself. It's a disservice to you, but it's a disservice to others because others
Mhm.
benefit from who we are. even when we don't recognize it or know it. But the biggest aha came from when that dissonance came and it really wrecked my body, my health,
Mm,
my mental health, my physical health, my emotional, my spiritual health was rock bottom. And that didn't feel good at all. I was in that quiet desperation of, I know I'm a daughter of God. I know that there is more for me. What is it? Could you just tell me what it is and I'll do it? And it was a struggle. It was a real struggle in that time because leadership wasn't, come on, let me show you how I went through this too.
yeah.
It was just, you're off doing your own thing and figuring it out on your own. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I think that's really great because I think you hit on a couple things and I'm over here like just taking down all of these notes because you've shared so many great things that I think really speak to so many leaders regardless of where it is that they're leading from. If it is in a corporation like you were sharing or if it's at you might be experiencing these things at home with your family, right? Or maybe even in your own business, right? Because these things can happen anywhere. And I wrote down, that they wanted you were trying to be the leader that they expected you to be. And you knew, like, I think all of us get that point where we want to do well, right? I think everybody goes into leadership, one with the heart of service and with the desire to perform well. You want to do well for yourself, you want to do well for others, you want to do well for the organization. I don't think anybody goes into it saying, let's see how we could tank this company, right? Like you're not going to get promoted if that's your mindset,
Right.
right? And so I think sometimes, I don't think, even from my own experiences, I think we try so hard to perform and get results. And a lot of times we work for for-profit companies. So yes, we do need to produce a result. Yet those results sometimes can come at a cost, right? And there's always, I think that it's hard for us sometimes in the moment to see that what are the consequences of that, right? Like we're trying to be something else and we might be getting the rewards, getting the promotions, getting the plaques and I have some tons of them as well. And they always felt good in the moment. It's like, oh yes, somebody recognized my effort. And then, like you said, you wake up the next day and you're like, well, that doesn't feel as great as I thought it would.
Like, that didn't last very long.
Yeah, you're like, okay, well, now
What's
what?
yeah,
Yeah, it's like when you hit that first financial milestone, like you built it up in your head of, oh, this is going to be great if I can just get here. And then you get there and you're like, well, that's not as like, I'm grateful, don't get me wrong, but I thought it would feel different. I thought there would be like, where's the confetti and all the like the
right.
things like it because even all the stuff that's exterior inside, you're still like, well, still feel the same. I still don't feel like me. Maybe this isn't me.
That reminds me of something that one of my vice presidents told me in network marketing. When I was promoted, I had been working so hard for a promotion and I did it. I was so excited and I just felt bleh. Like, okay, so we did that. Why am I so poo poo about it? And as I talked to my leader about it, and she said, well, winners are never satisfied. And
Mm,
so in the moment, 30 years ago, that made me feel better because, well, I'm not satisfied. So that means I'm a winner.
yep.
Like I wanted to be the winner, a winner. And always pressing for that and trying to prove that and please everybody else so I can be a leader that other people can look to. But now I realize, okay, winners are never satisfied. Okay. But in life, to have that real prosperous life where it's not just about the money, it's about everything together and how you live from the inside out, right? And it wasn't that, yeah, I wasn't satisfied, but it wasn't because I'm a winner or I'm not a winner. I wasn't satisfied because I wasn't doing the right thing for me.
Mm.
I wasn't living my purpose. I was living somebody else's expectation. I wanted to live up to, um, my dad had worked for the same network marketing company. So, and this was after he passed. So for me, it was like carrying on a legacy. So it was really important to me. But I learned later that it was for a season.
Yeah.
And I just thought, that could really mess some people up. Like, well, winners are never satisfied. Okay, so you just keep searching, and it's like that hamster wheel. And I really felt like that. Like I was just trapped in network marketing or in uh, retail or wherever I was. It was like a trap where I really couldn't be autonomous. I couldn't really be me. Like there was always these hidden pieces of me. And a lot of times they were my greatest gifts for others that I couldn't really share at that point, at that moment.
Yeah. Well, I think we've all bought into it, right? Like as you said that, it made me think back to some things, even in my leadership journey, where similar things have been said. Winners are never satisfied, right? Like, because I think the intention behind it is meant to like motivate you of, okay, we're moving on to what's next. And it's like when you really, I think as we do get older, maybe more experienced. And I think a piece of that is as we start really learning more about who we really are and what we take a step back from that hustle and start saying, okay, well, hold on a second. What truly is important to me? Then we start to realize, like, well, do I really ever want to be satisfied? Like, how is that? Like, well, that's
Yeah.
not the life that I want to live. Like, I don't, we're going to spend like, what, 80, 90 years if we're lucky on this planet. Like, do I really want to never be satisfied? Like, how small thinking is that? Like how like defeating is that
Yeah.
to really think that way? And again, I think people say it with the best of intentions, yet
Hmm.
not always realizing how that could truly impact somebody. Because I know you, I know for myself, like I don't want to never not be satisfied. Like I want to live my purpose. I want to be happy with everything that I have and grateful and know that I have accomplished all of these things. And I'm be excited about it, damn it. Like,
Absolutely. Like, it's like, well, if you're not satisfied and you're just living your life out, the word that comes to me is complacency.
mm,
You're just going to be
yes.
complacent the rest of your life, living and tiptoeing through this quiet life of desperation because you're just trapped inside your own mental four walls of that you can't break free from because nobody's really given you permission or you haven't seen somebody else do it or everybody does it like this and you're too much or you're not that. So keep it on the down low. But yeah, complacency is a killer for sure.
Oh, yes. I've seen that. I don't want to say ruin because I don't think that but derail the
Mm,
leadership journey of many leaders where they do get complacent. And I see how it impacts them, right? Because you can tell somebody who is complacent, they're not happy,
right.
right? And it's really hard to mask that. Like you really like you can try and you can put on the smile, but
It
people see
oozes
right
out of
through it.
you.
Yes, it does. And people see right through it, right? And the impact that that has on all the people around you, your team at work, your peers, you bring that complacency then home and it impacts your family, right? Like that's one of the things I know I always tell leaders is your job is more than what happens between the hours of 8 and 5, right? Like you've got to really think about how it is that you show up as a leader. Because if you do show up complacent, you know, your team is spending 40 hours a week with you. That's the bulk of your week when you really think about it, if you're working a full time job. And everything that you do during those hours, you are either chipping away at or pouring into how they're showing up at the dinner table with their family when they get home. So, what
100%.
do you want to do?
Yeah. Oh, it is so true, Shannon. Like, it isn't just about those working hours. It's so growing up in a religious family, it was, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. You should love thy neighbor and love yourself and all. And this is where it all kind of changed and started to pivot and guide me towards my purpose, is that if we are supposed to love our neighbors and be kind to others, how on earth can we do that truly for real if we don't feel it for ourselves? If we are not loving ourselves, if we are not loving the fault lines and the wrinkles and the annoyances and all of that stuff, the good, the bad, the ugly of ourselves, and have grace and compassion for ourselves, there's not a way that we can do it for others. And I see that that's the leadership I want, is I want to show people that it can be done, from not being able to look at myself in the mirror and really be okay with who I am. Not that I did bad things or anything, but not feeling worthy or that I was living up to par or whatever it is. But if we're supposed to love others, we've got to learn to love ourselves first. That's where human design really came in. I had been reestablishing my relationship with God and studying scriptures and really getting that identity of who I am and what I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
a soul. I'm a spiritual being having this human experience right now. And what does that look like? So I knew that I reconnected there, and then I found human design, and it was like the pieces all came together. It was the permission slip for me to love even the dark, ugly spots
Mm-hmm.
of myself. And I
Yeah.
found that those dark, ugly spots weren't really dark and ugly. They were some of my greatest, most beautiful strengths. And most of them are for others, they're not for me. So I
Ooh.
have really been able to show compassion towards myself, grace towards myself, and that has allowed me to hold sacred space for others that might not be there yet. Because believe you go out in the public anywhere and you know how people feel about themselves because of how they treat others.
Yes. Yes. You go
So
to the grocery store, like, can you just hold the door? Like, it's really not that hard. And
yeah,
it's
I
even
don't
an
go out.
automatic door.
Because I lived in big cities and all of that, and it was uncomfortable because you could feel the energy and the negativity, and I didn't want to be out in public because I could just feel it. So now I live in the country and farmland and stuff, but um, I do feel more me, and I'm not like so guarded. But I really do believe that as we love ourselves and have compassion for ourselves and understanding for ourselves, that we can do the same for others. And we
Yeah.
can be the best leaders that way.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with that, right? Because it all starts with us, and I love that you brought human design into that because really being able to, like, you can study pieces of yourself and a lot of times we think that we know who we are, and sometimes just like with everything, right? Like I can be really great. I have a fitness routine, I have an app that tells me here's all the workouts that there's like thousands of them in there. I don't even know, right? Like I can go in there and I can pick any workout, yeah, I know that I need like that coach that's going to say, okay, for your goals and what you need to do, why don't you focus on these ones are going to be best for you, right? And I feel like that's kind of what human design helps give us, is that blueprint of, okay, you've done all of this personal development work. Now let's really give you kind of that X-ray or MRI into who you really are. And here's how you need to show up just as you, just to be you, right? And give you that glimpse and help you see those things that sometimes we hold ourselves to a standard, right? Or we think, or even others might tell us, like this, like you said, those dark, ugly spots, right? Like these are the things that are holding you back. These are your obstacles. And then when you start really learning who you are, you start to realize that no, they're not the dark, ugly spots. These are my gifts. I just wasn't loving myself enough for my gift to shine through in the way that I needed it to be able to love others, to serve others, for it to be seen as a gift, right? I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, I go back to the thought of showing up in service, right? And what would be the difference of somebody showing up in service, having those dark, ugly spots, so they think, and not really appreciating themselves? And like, okay, I'm
Mhm.
going to show up in service because my mentor told me to.
Yeah, it's on my checklist.
Yeah, it's on my checklist versus showing up in service because I feel love now. I'm beginning to feel love. I'm beginning to feel compassion for myself. So I can hold a little bit of space for other people now. But if you're not feeling that way about yourself and you're trying to show up in service, that's probably going to backfire on you and maybe cause some resentment because then you're thinking, I need to get something from this. It's not true service.
Yeah.
That Christ-like love of unconditional love. That's service. It's showing up without any expectations. And if we don't have that for ourselves, there is going to be some sort of underlying, what am I going to get out of it? Oh, I'll show up for a few weeks or I'll do this time, but knowing that something else is going to come out of it. That's still, yeah, not the point.
Not the point, and I don't think that it really aligns with anybody's true soul or true passion. I don't, maybe it's a little bit naive of me. I don't know, but I don't think that people always, like, I don't think the majority of people go into everything thinking, well, I'm going to do this because I want that, right? Like I am going to do this because I'm intending to get something out of it, right? I think it's just, I think most people, they want to serve because they're called in their heart. Yet if they're not, like you said, loving themselves, if they're not able to give themselves compassion when they show up, it's going to fall flat. It's not, they're not going to feel as good about it or make others around them feel good about what they're doing. Yet when you can really have that compassion for yourself, when you show up to serve, people really feel it. Like I think of even volunteer groups that I've been in, you can tell the people who are there because they had to be there,
Mm,
or they were there because maybe their company gave them volunteer hours and they're like, well, this is a free day away from work.
yes.
And then you can tell the people who were there because they genuinely wanted to be there to support that organization, to really give back, to help others, and just be around other people who had that heart of service. And naturally, I think in some of those groups, like they kind of separate themselves a little bit, like, but you can tell you're like, oh, and sometimes you just want to hug those people and be like, go home and love yourself. I love you.
Right.
Like next time, put a smile on at least,
Right.
like something, you know. I don't believe in faking it until you feel it,
Right.
but it's like, okay, we can tell who really wants to be here and who doesn't. And I think that, as leaders, again, that shows up, it comes through. People can tell. You can't Nobody hides it as well as they think that they do.
So true. I mean, you just feel it. It's thick in the air. And maybe some of us recognize that more than others. Like when you walk into a room and you're like, oh, or like, oh, this is exciting. You just know your people. And that's the other thing, like really listening to yourself in different situations as a leader or finding your way, whatever you're doing, is listening to those inner promptings to know what feels good and what doesn't. And if you're volunteering and it's not feeling good and it's just not landing, maybe there's another type of service
Yeah.
that you would actually love and show up with all of your heart and soul to. So it's not, you're a bad person because you don't want to, be dishing out food or something, but maybe find something else that really calls to your soul.
Mm, I love that. That is so true. And I think that's even where, as we start to study ourselves and be honest with ourselves about who we really are, like what are the things that truly do speak to you, that truly are your passions. If you don't like animals, don't go and volunteer at the animal shelter, right? Like find what suits you. There's something that suits everybody. And I think as we start leveraging tools like human design and really get to that deep level of knowing ourselves, it helps give us more clarity around what some of those things are. Like even for myself, as I've studied things for myself, like I've learned things about myself that I kind of knew, but maybe couldn't put the language around, or I was like, oh, no wonder why that never felt good.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to force it because again, it was on my leadership checklist. Somebody told me I needed to do it, or this worked for that person. So of course it should work for me, right? No, and it did it. And it's like, okay, well, now I know. And when we have that awareness, it really does. It makes a difference and it allows us to really make better decisions. And when we make better decisions for ourselves, it has a ripple effect on everybody around us.
100%. Yes.
So on the podcast and previous episodes, we talked about this new era of leadership that we're kind of in now, right? And that's
Yes.
continuing to come. Can you talk a little bit about why really stepping more into the soul-led leadership really is important for this new era that we are in and continuing to step into?
Absolutely. I just got the goosebumps. Um, this new era that we're in, I feel this so much, and it's years and years of observation of what's going around us in the environment and in our neighborhoods and in our homes. I feel like I've almost been on the outside looking in at society, right? And then noticing how people are they're followers.
Mm,
They're not individuals. They go with what the friends are saying or what's popular, and they're not, again, listening to their inner promptings, their inner guide, their inner guidance system of what's right. They're going with what's popular, what's safe, what doesn't rock the boat, what's not going to get them rejected from their group of friends, and it's just going along.
yeah.
It's complacency. It's just not being your individual authentic self. And in this new era, you can see the shift. I mean, in the world right now, you can see the shift of I'm not I'm leery of the gurus and the experts. I'm leery of the promises made out there that can bring me results in my life, whether it's business or personal or whatever. People are hesitant because of all the broken, empty promises that have been out there from the collective. And now we get a chance to be our own thought leaders. We get to, because we've had these thoughts, right? Most of us have had thoughts, even if we are in this current of society and current of the norms and what everybody else is doing. But then we can stand up for ourselves, like, wait a minute. What if I did this a little bit different? What if I actually did it this way, what if I tried it the way I wanted to try it? Oh, scandalous. You know, it's like, oh my gosh. But that's where the beauty lies. It's not in the collective being all the same.
Yes.
The beauty is in the differentiation. The beauty is in the variety of gifts. The beauty is in your strengths and my weaknesses and your weaknesses come together to make this whole new, beautiful, exponential thing that couldn't be brought to life with just one or the other. And I really believe that that's what the new era is allowing and giving that permission to us as individuals, as children of God, to really lean into our divine identity, the ones that we were given here for this earth, for this time, for the experiences that we are to learn here to take on with us, if that's what you believe. Otherwise, like, what is all these challenges for? But I believe that we're for growth and expansion, and that we were given these strengths and weaknesses at the time of our birth for these purposes. And when we can, like, not dim the light that God has put in us, that we are actually sharing
Mm.
our gifts and our talents, because wouldn't that be the biggest kick in the face to God, not sharing our talents? He gave us these beautiful gifts, some that we don't recognize yet. And we're hesitant about it, or we're unsure, or, we're not confident about it, or why would anybody want that? And because we hold on to it, it just rots.
Mm.
And this new era is the time to say, no, let's try it. Let's just experiment just a little. Like, I dare you, Shannon, to really step in just a little bit more to who you are in those divine gifts. What would happen if you did? And I just believe that that creates so much. That's the leadership, is standing up for yourself. The leadership we need today is the courage to stand up in ourselves as we are, who we are, for the calling that we are meant to be and do. That's what we need. We don't need more followers. We all are leaders. And when we can lead individually and give other people permission to be themselves, and those gifts that come out, oh my gosh, can you imagine the gifts that could be brought to this world and to each other if we just maybe dared a little bit more to know that that's all we had to do was be ourselves.
It is so good. I'm going to paraphrase something you said because I couldn't write it down fast enough. Like the courage to stand up in ourselves for who we are, right? Like if we all did that, even in just the smallest way, if that's where we need to start, like I get chills kind of and excited thinking about like what could that mean for us, for the world, right? Like how amazing could life be, right? Like life already is, but think about how do you talk about taking that to the next level? Like just be you, and as I think about like many of my listeners, most of them, they are new leaders, right?
Mm.
And that is exactly what they are desiring. They want to grow within their leadership without losing who they are, right? So, what would be what if you could give them one piece of advice or one practical step that they could take today to lead more soulfully, to lead more of themselves? What would that be?
Mm, goodness, one thing.
You can share more than one if you want, but
To not lose yourself in leadership and still be you. Wow, for me, it was and is still continuing to learn and to love myself, just as I am. And knowing that I don't have to be anything more and I don't have to be anything less. There is nothing that can be added or taken away from me. I have everything that I need right now to be that person, to be that leader. And as I continue to learn about myself, whether it's human design or personal development or scripture or whatever it is, that allows that conviction of who I am and that I'm okay and I'm not broken and there's not something wrong with me, that I can stand in that courage, that I can stand in that conviction of I am a daughter of God and I have these divine talents and divine nature that I am meant to share with people. And that crosses every part of our life, business, personal, family, friends, whatever. I mean, just out in the grocery store, like you said, that's what the leadership is about. It's not like I used to put on a costume to go into retail. It should be a fluid, that same essence of who you are around. And that might take some practice and you might get some pushback. But stick to
Mhm.
your guns and stand up for who you are unapologetically, and the right things will come. The right people
Yeah,
will come. The right experiences will come. The serendipity will come. And so I just be unapologetically you as you learn to love and know yourself even more.
I love that. Love that. It goes back to that courage that you
Yeah.
said, right? So I'm sure many of my listeners are like, I love this. Yes, I need more. I want more. I want to be around. I want to build my community, really get around other women who are doing this work, who have these same beliefs, or maybe even might be stuck and really just need to be in a place. So can you, I know you have a summit coming up later this week. And so can you tell us a little bit more about that summit and your vision behind it? Kind of just give us a little bit of the details, because I think that's a really great opportunity for women and for leaders to really get around other people that can help lift that up for you.
It's so true. We need others to lift us up, just as we need to lift others up. And it happens in community. It doesn't happen in isolation at home, right? And that's really one of the things that I have found in my journey is it wasn't just the personal development that I have been doing for years and years and years, but it's when I got into a community, when I hired a mentor and then was around and surrounded myself with other empowered women, that things actually started to change and
Yes.
catalysts changed and just more possibilities and perceptions changed. It has been amazing. And so my friend and peer, Lori Ellen Miller, and I have decided to co-host this soul-led business summit. And we have 18 amazing speakers. So this isn't just about me
Yes.
and Lori, but we are holding this space for these amazing people to come and empower each other. This is about networking and sisterhood and really creating maybe that launch pad for women who want that soul-led business. Maybe they have the business. Maybe it's stuck. Maybe it sucks right now. Maybe your business sucks right now. Like you
Uh-huh.
don't have enough you love your clients, but you want more of those wonderful clients. You want that income to come in so you can have the prosperity and the philanthropy that you want to do. It's not just about hoarding the money, but it's about being with other like-minded people. So we're getting this community together to help women who want to clarify their message in their business, to activate their voice so that they can be heard by their people and to lead their business from that deep alignment and authenticity that we've been talking about. I didn't know what that looked like at the beginning. And let me
Mhm.
tell you, having other people around to guide and to mentor me and to challenge me has just been so impactful and so influential. We just want to help other women, to honor their soul's path and to build a business rooted in truth and purpose, finally. that's profitable, that's prosperous, that makes an impact. I just want to make an impact. Like the money, great. We do need money to live, but I know that showing up in service is the way to do that. So yes, October 9th, 10th, and 11th, we have our Soul Led Business Summit, and you can sign up in the link below. It's going to be so amazing. We're going to have a VIP option where you get a ton of goodies, things that you can take with you and use now to really start making an impact in your business and start seeing results today. So I'm really excited. I hope that you come. I hope that you can see what's possible for you when you're in a community of other like-minded women that are there to support and to cheer you on, not to compare, not to compete, but we celebrate each other. So that's what it's for.
That is fantastic. So, and I want to echo Dana and say that it is so important to be in community, to be around other people, other women who have that same desire that you do, that are going to pour into you, that you're going to have the opportunity to pour into them. Listen, I've read all the leadership books. I have bookcases of them.
Yes.
And I'm not going to tell you to not read, because I do think that leaders are readers. And I'm always going to, as the girl who spent her entire childhood in the library, I'm going to tell you, pick up a book. Like, you need to read it. It's important. It is not as important as getting around other people. You need to be around other people. So yes, I will have the links down in the show notes. Sign up. Even if you're like, well, I don't really know, just sign up. Sign up. I promise you that once you get in, it's like going to the gym. I never want to go to the gym in the morning. I don't. I love working out, but I don't want to go to the gym in the morning. There is never a workout that I've done that I have regretted ever. Right. And this is one of those opportunities that you won't regret signing up. You will find that I don't want to, I hate to say it's going to change your life. I think it will change your life. I do believe that it will change your life. Get in around other people, because now more than ever, I think that we need community. We need to be around others. And so if you are ready, when you are ready, click the link in the notes and sign up. Get to see what soul led leadership is like in action, and be able to connect with other women on this journey. This is going to be an event that you absolutely don't want to miss. So I'm very excited to be able to have you on today to talk about it. I'm going to be in attendance at the
I was
event
just going to
because
say you're going to be one of our speakers.
I'm going to be one of your speakers, but I am also going to be there as a learner and showing up to be around other women, because I do believe that community is so important. Even for myself, I've had all the successes in leadership. I've checked all the boxes. I got all of them on my bookcase. I got my awards, right? I've read all the books. I've listened to the podcast. Like, listen, I've done all the things, right? And when I got around the right women and I got in the right communities, it completely shifted everything, not just in my leadership, but in my life. Like, I look at my life so much differently than I ever have before. Like, and I didn't think I had a bad life. Like, it wasn't a bad thing, but I see it with this whole other level of appreciation, of possibility, of prosperity. I love that word, of prosperity, that it was kind of clouded for me before. I got complacent. And when I got around other women like Dana and Lori and many of the others in our community, it took my entire life to this whole other level that I didn't even know was there. I didn't even know it was there. So I want to encourage everybody, sign up, register. This is an event you don't want to miss. Dana, thank you so much for coming on the
Ooh,
podcast with us this week.
such an
This
honor.
was so powerful. I'm not kidding when I tell you I have a whole page of notes just for myself from all of the goodness that you
Aw,
have poured into everybody. And I appreciate you showing up just as you, as genuine Dana, really here with the mind to serve and to want to give back and have an impact on other leaders. So thank you for
thank you.
coming on this week.
Thank you so much, Shannon.
All right, I am going to close this out. So, my fellow leaders, until next time, lead with confidence, show up every day as the leader that you are striving to be, and continue to invest in your growth and development as a leader.